and today we're going to be looking at replacing, repairing, or installing a new heads-up display in a Chevrolet Corvette, the C6 2005 and up. The HUD is a pretty amazing feature. It's probably my favorite feature on my Corvette. In my particular case, it had a HUD from the factory, but unfortunately the pivot has broken and the mirror has fallen down inside that HUD assembly. So I'm going to remove the HUD and try to repair it, and failing that, replace it. If you purchased a Corvette without a HUD, it's possible to actually install an aftermarket HUD using original GM parts, and either splicing wires to the gauge cluster or purchasing an aftermarket wiring harness. And it's really pretty affordable. You can find kits out there for just $600 or $700 that you're no doubt going to get back in resale value on your car. And unfortunately, that broken pivot point is a very common failure on these cars. It's a very weak spot, so if you hit a big bump or something like that, it's entirely possible that pivot point's going to break. I'll see if maybe I can shore it up with some extra JB weld or something like that. We'll see. This can be a very involved procedure because to really do it right, you need to remove the entire dash from the vehicle. Some people in the Corvette community have figured out a clever, if brutal, workaround to that, and that is to simply remove the gauge cluster and then cut a section away from the heating and AC ducts that are behind the gauge cluster in front of the heads-up display. So I'm going to give that a shot. There's not a lot of great documentation out there on that method, which is why I'm making this video. So I'm going to be playing it by ear, and hopefully I can make the cuts in the right place and taper all back together when I'm done. So let's get started. So my first step here has just been to get a couple drop cloths to try to mask off as much of the interior as I can. I've got a roll of duct tape available to mask as I go as well. Just want to make sure I don't scratch anything up as I'm working around here. Then I have moved the steering wheel down, and as far down as it'll go, and telescoped it out. And the first thing we're going to do is remove this gauge cluster surround. And apparently this is held in with just some clips, so I'm going to take some little screwdrivers or something, or maybe it won't even take that much, and just work my way around and pull this trim piece out, and unplug all the connections behind it, and see what things look like. Alright, so this trim panel came out with surprising ease, actually. There's just a few electrical connections back here that need to be removed with those plugs. And then one thing I need to make sure I do here is I'm about to unplug the on-off switch for the car, the push-to-start button. So I made sure to roll down the windows in case I end up closing the doors, so I don't have to climb in through the hatch to get it open. And then I'm going to go ahead and disconnect those battery terminals while I'm messing around with all these electrical connections. So here's the dash piece that we just removed, and it has all of these pinch type clasps right here. And I was able to just get in there and pop those out with my fingers. If you need a little more leverage, you can just use a plastic no scratch screwdriver or something like that to get in there and pry it off. It had 5 connectors. The heads-up display connectors here and here, I just unscrewed these 3 Phillips screwdrivers and left those pods hanging. I can probably go back and disconnect those. It had the automatic climate control sensor right here, and you just yank that thing out. That one was a little confusing. The connector for the start-stop switch was real easy. There's just a tab you press in back here. Over here was the trunk release, and that one I just used a pair of pliers to grasp a tab on the plug, and that one popped right off. And so it was not bad at all. And now we are ready to start working on the gauge cluster itself. And I just disconnected those HUD pod connectors, and you have to press down this tab. That's kind of an awkward angle, so I would definitely recommend unscrewing those pods and then disconnecting them after the fact. I think that would be the easiest way to get those disconnected from that dash panel. So here's what it looks like without that dash panel installed. Hopefully I can kind of get a good camera angle here. And it looks like the dash cluster itself is secured with just a few 7mm nuts. So I'm just going to hit those with a ratchet with an extension. And we'll pull that dash cluster off and take a look behind it. Okay, we have the gauge cluster removed. A couple things to note. The top bolts were actually shorter than the bottom bolts, so you want to make sure you put those back correctly. And I'm pretty sure they're actually more like a 6.5. Unfortunately, I don't have a 6.5 socket handy. And then what I did, I've got the gauge cluster under here, and it would definitely be handy to have the steering wheel out of the way, but I'd rather not remove it. So I just completely wrapped it in a drop cloth, and then, you know, finagled it out of its nest in there, and it took a little bit of muscle, but I don't have any scratches on my dash or anything like that. If I didn't wrap it in a cloth, I'm sure I would have scratched a few things up. So just be real careful and patient, and use a little bit of muscle, and it should come right out. And we are ready to get started cutting. So make sure that you don't do anything with this bottom duct. What we're interested in here is this top duct right here, which doesn't photograph as well, but that's the one that we're interested in. It is secured with a 7mm or the 6.5mm bolt over here. Gives us some play here, and there is some other latch or something over here I think that we're going to end up breaking to remove, but that's no big deal. And then where this cut is going to happen, I hope I can photograph this right, is there's this sensor right here, and we're going to cut just to the left of that sensor to give us as much room to work with as possible for getting this HUD out and back in. Whatever, I just scored it with the razor blade, and then I'm kind of hacking through it. It's coming out real clean without a lot of shavings, so we'll see how it looks when it's all done. So here is our duct that we're going after. And I started on this bottom side with just a razor, just a box cutter, and I got through that in about 60 seconds or so. But then I really struggled on the portion where they're mated together. I had a hard time getting the right amount of force in the right place there. And I've got a few saws around here, but I don't have a keyhole saw that has the right kind of strength in the right place to get on that. What I ended up doing was using a soldering iron, and that literally cut through it like a hot knife through butter. And it still probably took me about 30 minutes or so. I was trying to be really careful about not getting anything else here with damage anything else with the heat. So here's what this side looks like. And once we get that all cleaned up, you know, it'll stitch back together really well, I hope. So next, we now have enough space here that we're going to be able to actually remove the HUD. And there's some mounting nuts on the two sides back here. They could be kind of tricky to get to, but I don't think they're going to be too bad. So we're going to remove those nuts. Then I removed a 7mm mounting bolt for this post right here, and then we should be able to remove the HUD. And here is the HUD. We have finally removed it from its home in there, and it was a little tricky. There's a stud or a bolt right here that's secured in front that's of course extremely easy to access. Then in the back there's a stud right here and here that it sets on, and then there's two 10mm nuts. The nuts can be a little tough to get to if you've got big hands, but they're not too bad. The really tricky part was getting it up and off those studs. I believe some people, what they do is they cut a slot right here in the back where those ears slip onto the stud, so that it's easier to just push it straight back in. You don't have to get it up and on. What I did was I just took a screwdriver and you know, wedged it up under there and pried up and slowly pulled the whole unit out. And again, you know, just takes a little bit of careful muscle, and it came out. And here it's very easy to see. My HUD is is not functioning. That mirror is just jiggling around in there, and it's fallen off this pivot point here, and that caused it to fall off the pivot point on the other side. So now I'm gonna see if I can crack this thing open and repair it, and failing that, of course, just replace it. So here I have disassembled my HUD, and the common point of failure on these, I guess, is this pivot point here, which I thought had failed, but it looks like it's actually this, see if I can get in close here, this little mount point right here has given way, and this one, it looks like, is trying hard to. The plastic on it is chipping away. This guy, mounts right in there, and then the mirror attaches to those 2 points. So I'm going to give it a college try and try like JB welding a washer on there, and probably on both sides, because I think this side is not far behind it. And then I will get started reinstalling. If you are installing the HUD for the first time, if your car was not originally equipped with one, you're going to have to do some wire work, splicing into your factory wiring harness. And depending on what kit you have, it may have come with some instructions. I hope it did. I'm also going to attach a link to a very elaborate walkthrough. It details a procedure that is a lot more lengthy and involved than the cut the duct method. And after seeing how easy it was to get through all this, it really just took me a couple hours. I see no reason not to use the cut the duct method. But it does have a good walkthrough for the wiring as well. So depending on what you're doing, you may or may not need to do some wiring at this time. So I'm gonna get this repaired, and then we're gonna start putting everything back together. So here is the HUD, hopefully in the repaired state. And what I've done here is attached a pair of square washers that I found with a whole mess of JB Weld. Haven't found anything that JB Weld can't fix, and hopefully it will set on there just perfectly. You can see there's a hole for a peg that should hold it in the proper location. It's just that plastic surround that the screw butts up against had just given way completely on one side, and it was getting ready to give way on the other side. So hopefully this will stand the test of time, and the HUD will show up clearly on the windshield. We will see once I put everything back together. Then I'm going to go ahead and slot these ears right here. I'm going to slot them right here so that I can slide the HUD straight back into place. I won't need to try to lift the HUD back on top of those studs. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do that with, probably just a razor blade or something like that, which if you're installing a new HUD or replacing and repairing it or whatever, I guess it's a common practice to try to slot those. And here we have the HUD reassembled. You can see this cam actuates that mirror back and forth. And while you have everything apart, definitely don't forget to clean the projector, 2 mirrors, and screen as well as you can. This is going to be the only chance you're going to get to get all the dust out of there and give you a nice clean image on your windshield. And here's the 2 slots I have. Hopefully with those they'll just slip right on there. And here the HUD is reinstalled. Slipped right in there nice and easy. The only hang up I had was the steel tab at the bottom of this stud here slipped off, and so I had to get that thing back on there with a little bit of prying and trying. But all in all, it went in a lot easier than it came out. Now we're ready to try to put our duct back together, and for that I would recommend some foil tape. I'm sure duct tape would work fine, but if you've never used this stuff before, it is pretty amazing. It makes duct tape look like Scotch tape, and I'm sure if you're working on a car, you know how to use some duct tape. But there's not much clearance at the top here, so I'm just gonna kind of stick a few flaps in there and on the back, and then insert the duct, and then just wrap some around or whatever. So we'll see how it looks when we're done. One thing that's also handy is to break off this ear back here. We broke off the end of it. You can see where it attaches just on the left there. We broke off the end of it when we removed this this duct, and so that bracket doesn't serve any purpose. And if you you break the rest of that off, this this duct will move around much easier inside of the gauge cluster area and make it a lot easier to get your tape going. And here I put these two pieces of tape just along the back, and then on top, and you can just barely see the edge of the top one right there, and then shoved the duct up into place to stick onto it, and then I'm just going to run a couple of pieces along the bottom, and that'll be it. And here is our complete taped up duct. And now we are ready to reinstall that gauge cluster. And here's the gauge cluster reinstalled. Again, we use those larger bolts on the bottom. And I also forgot to mention to reinstall this bolt right here holding in your air duct, but make sure you do that. Now we are ready to reinstall the pods into the HUD pods into our gauge cluster bezel. These clips are difficult to undo when you're taking it off, but they're easier to insert. So we're going to install these pods, and then we're going to plug everything up and reinstall that bezel. You have everything put back together. Time for the moment of truth. Well, I really hope this worked. Oh, there it is. So there's that. If you have any questions, feel free to post them and I will do my best to help out. Thanks.